All right, we should have gone live. So this is our Ask Us Anything in partnership with the Madison Food Center. And so, okay, now we're probably up live now, totally. So this is our Ask Us Anything at the in partnership with the Madison Food Center. And so it looks like we're live here. So this is an Ask Us Anything. So Charlie, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Charlie. I am the Guiding Ohio online learning coach here at the Public Library. I do your learning coaches, all that kind of stuff.
Charlie's the guy to go to if you need help with your phones, with your tablets, with anything like that. So that's what he does for us. He is also here to help you with copying and some other computer things. And you can schedule a one-on-one appointment for about an hour with him. And my name is Shawn Walsh, and I am the Emerging Services and Technologies Librarian here at the Madison Public Library. And so again, this is our AMA Ask Anything. And so if you want to throw something in the chat, you're more than welcome to. We'll wait for your questions. If not, we'll start talking about a little bit of technology news. Yeah. You want to go first, Charlie, or want me to run one?
Well, do we want to see if people can hear us, if there's anyone?
Well, let's see. If anybody's out there, can you hear us? Just throw something in the chat, please. Because we're leaving our masks on, but we have mics in front of the masks, so it's always the fun part.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on my phone to see if I see anything. Because it'll show up in the chat there. Colt, who's running our video.
Hello.
So I don't see anybody.
You have one viewer.
Yeah, that's me actually, probably, because I've got it up so I can see what's going on. Well, we'll just keep doing our thing. All right, Charlie.
All right. So from CES this year, so like even a few days ago, LG announced a rollable phone. So this rollable phone is actually just a phone, but it kind of just extends out back and forth depending on.
So it's like flexible?
Yeah. Well,
so you can roll it up?
This one's not flexible. It's actually like, it would be like a standard phone like this.
Uh-huh.
Except, so imagine it being, so the original screen size being about this big.
Yep.
But then it kind of rolls out to make it size.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So that's one of them. It's kind of cool to me, at least.
Yeah.
Considering that you can actually fit it in certain spots instead of just.
Yeah, well, that's the thing right now. I mean, just about every phone anybody has is like carrying around a brick. So,
yeah.
You know. So again, if you've just joined, this is our Ask Us Anything, and we're hoping that someone can hear us out there. Let us know how the mics are doing. Just throw something in the chat. Mm-hmm. Colt, in the chat, you have a chat window there. You can throw something in there just in case someone doesn't have speakers on. And while we're waiting for questions, anything tech related, yeah, we should say don't ask us anything, because I'm not going to tell you how to make the best souffle in the world on this show right here. That's just not going to happen. So again, ask us anything. Okay, so go ahead and keep going. We haven't seen anybody yet who's commented in, but we'll just keep on doing our thing.
All right. You want to do one? Or?
You got anything else on the phone, or?
Not really.
Okay.
But it's said to be it's set to be released by sometime mid this year.
Okay. I am kind of fascinated by the OLED screens that are flexible.
Yeah.
So those are kind of cool because you can wrap them around things. I was looking at basically a phone that you could wrap around your arm like a bracelet, which I thought was kind of cool. I think it's kind of a cool technology.
Actually, another thing, but I did find another one. It's TC actually has like a scroll.
Oh yeah.
It's completely flexible.
Uh-huh.
But it unravels itself like a scroll.
This could be the most dramatic thing ever. I've got a text.
Exactly. The best part about it is that obviously it's a CES video, so it's not an actual prototype or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I actually did have a prototype, but I didn't get to watch it too well. But it was like it showed like someone camping, and they used it as like their map. They used it as like their location, that kind of thing.
That's cool.
And in their tent, they actually got a phone call on it, so it's like an actual phone. And it's all on this.
I still like the whole dramatic. Yeah, I've got a text message. Dun dun dun.
Exactly.
So for some of the stuff I was looking at, is basically I've noticed a significant drop in solid-state drives at this last CES, which is kind of nice. So if you're not familiar with the solid-state drive, it's basically a type of storage similar to a flash drive, except much, much larger. And the nice part about it is the solid-state drive doesn't necessarily have any moving parts, so there's nothing to break down. Most of the time when you have a computer problem with your hard drive, it physically is breaking down. The parts are physically running into each other or breaking. Where with a solid state drive, there's nothing that moves. It's also a million times faster, not technically a million, but you know what I mean, exaggeration, a million times faster than a typical hard drive. And so when you start your computer up Windows, once it hits that hard drive, everything flies. So, 250 gig SSD, solid state drive, they're getting down to the $50 range.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't bad. I mean, I could see that as my, $50 for a solid state drive to start on my computer, have Windows on, have that, and then still use conventional drives for like long-term storage for my music or my videos or any of that stuff.
I mean, that's what I do at home.
Mm-hmm.
Dedicated SSD to Windows, all applications that I may need to open, and then everything else is set on a hard drive.
But I'll be honest with you, a 1 terabyte is $139 at this point, and it's probably the price is going to drop even more. $140 is not that bad for a terabyte worth of space. Especially at that speed.
Well, especially if it's upgrading and stuff too. If you just want to upgrade your your laptop storage or your computer storage, that's definitely a nice upgrade, especially.
Yep. So if anybody out there actually has any questions, this is our AMA. Feel free to throw something in the chat. We'd love to talk with you. So this is Charley and Shawn doing Ask Us Anything technology-wise, in conjunction with the Madison Food Center. So we'll see if anybody's going to ask a question. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about technology news. Do you have another one, Charley, or you want me to do another one?
You can do another one.
Okay. So I was kind of excited about this. I love anything to do with space travel, space flights, things like that.
Yeah.
The fact that so many astronauts came from Ohio was such a big thing. And then when I was a little kid, I actually got to meet, an astronaut once. And so that was kind of a cool experience. So what's really kind of driving things is, it's no longer as much NASA as these private companies. Like SpaceX has built their Dragon module and things.
Oh, yeah.
So Virgin, who is Richard Branson's, I guess Sir Richard Branson, his company, his airline company, they're basically doing, I like the term, let's see if I get it right, Virgin Orbit. And so they're using their 747 passenger jets, extra ones, and then they're attaching basically a rocket booster to that with satellites. And so they just launched because they had an unsuccessful one, they had a successful one where they did like 9 satellites. And they launched them for NASA. So, basically NASA's hitching a ride on a Galactic Virgin Orbit 747 to get up there. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I mean, we're still going to keep pumping out satellites. A lot of our satellites that have been up there, especially like the EchoStars that provide most of us our TV, have been up there since, in some cases, the 60s and 70s. They're decaying in orbit. They're running out of parts are starting to fail on them, things like that. So we need to start pushing some things up there. I'm also all for putting more stuff up because there's some technology now where you can kind of bounce Wi-Fi off of satellites and cover large areas. They're talking about doing that for like sub-Saharan Africa and places like that where it's real hard to interconnect internet, but even phones. You can't get all these towers, so much space.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. If you just joined us, this is the Ask Us Anything technology in partnership with the Madison Food Center. So feel free to throw something in the chat. I love watching myself on my phone because it's a little bit delayed and how much I talk with my hands. So Charlie, you want to do another one? News-wise?
I mean, really all I have left is it's called the Shower Power Hydropower Shower Speaker.
Say that 3 times
fast. So this shower head, or it's actually a speaker, is hydropowered. So instead of like, if you were to have like a regular speaker, in your bathroom instead, it's not, you don't plug it in, let it charge. It's through the
water passing through it.
Passing through it, and it charges it itself.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, because water and electricity are not friends.
No, I agree with that.
So it's like a hydropowered dam, or like a steam turbine or anything like that. That's cool.
That's the idea of it. And it actually won one of CES's innovation awards.
That is really cool, because I could, that'd be cool. So that's the one that kind of mounts inside the shower head. Is that the one you're talking about? So it's like in the shower head, pumping tunes into your face. Yeah. I was telling you earlier, I'm somewhat interested in the shower head. I don't know who makes it, that has like scent capsules you can put in there.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything about that.
Yeah, so I want to kind of find that out, because you're getting up in the morning. It'd be nice to like have one of those things that smells like lavender to kind of get you mellow, so you can get ready to get in the car and go to work, or maybe coffee smell. You're like, okay, it's time to wake up now.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So one of the other things I was looking at, technology news-wise, is there's a company, and their thing is called the Lasso. So like Wonder Woman's golden lasso. It's called a Lasso, and it's a closed-loop domestic recycling, which sounds really kind of fancy.
Oh, yeah.
So what it is the closed-loop recycling means that you put in your glass, your metal, and glass, metal, and plastic, okay? And it sanitizes it.
Okay.
It washes it, and it shreds it. And in theory, at a normal household, it stores a year's worth of recycled ground-up particles. So it does keep everything separate. There's like separate bins. So like you throw in your pop can or whatever, it shreds it and keeps it in a little bin. We're talking like fine, like powder almost shred. Keeps it in a little bin, and then when it knows it's full, it sends a message out, and someone comes and picks it up and puts a new thing into a new bin. Yeah, because it's kind of a bummer right now with China and a couple other places. They're not receiving recycling anymore.
Yeah.
So you put out, unfortunately, in some places, are just getting put into the landfill. So you're separating and washing your stuff, putting it out, being ecologically responsible, and then it's just getting tossed because there's nobody buying the stuff.
Yeah.
Where in this case, the company has already kind of figured out if you can shred it, make it small, do a year's worth, they then can buy the year's worth from you.
Okay.
And it makes sense because it's closer to raw material than it is having to do all the work.
Yeah.
You're kind of doing most of the work for them.
Yeah, I know.
I have no idea how loud this thing is.
Yeah. I know something along the lines of like garbage and recycling. I know at the Cleveland Metro Park Zoo, I went on a tour there last year while I was at Auburn, and they talked about their solar trash cans.
Oh yeah.
So it's a solar powered trash can, so it charges obviously in the sun. But it sends a signal to their maintenance department.
The grounds and maintenance, yeah.
And it says, "Hey, I'm full. Come,
Oh, that's
get
brilliant.
the garbage out." So it's a really cool way of making sure like all of the garbage bins are empty and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. I did not know that.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I see. That makes perfect sense to me because like the hardest thing about trash cans as a parent, is they always have like hornets and stuff around them.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff sitting in them and stuff. And I think that's kind of smart how they have a ton of kids there, so get the stuff moving, keep the hornets and bees out. Yeah.
Especially how many bins that they have, because they're one of those places that have recycling.
Yeah.
They have regular
Absolutely.
garbage, waste, and they also have like the multiple glass, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
All that stuff there, because it's a zoo, so they're going off for conservation.
Well, it's all about that, yeah. And I love all of our zoos. Ohio has a really nice set of zoos, not just Cleveland, not just Columbus. Akron has a great one. Toledo has one. Cincinnati has one. I'm probably missing somebody. But like all of our major cities have a zoo, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So again, if you just joined us, this is our technology AMA, and we're just talking about some of the news things as we're waiting for somebody to ask us some questions. So if you have any questions, if you can hear us, go ahead and throw something in the chat. We'd love to see it or hear it. If not, we're going to yammer on some more. And so we're waiting for a question. So Mowen, so the people who make a lot of faucets and stuff, are making this device I think is really neat. You put it on your incoming water, okay? And it senses water pressure flow. And if you spring a leak, say your pipes freeze, like right now, that's kind of a concern for a lot of people. If your pipes freeze, you could flood your house. This thing senses that kind of pressure change, that drastic pressure change, and locks off the water.
Oh.
So you can't flood your house.
Okay.
And the cool thing is, the newer one is you can tie it into a sump pump. So it also says, hey, sump pump, you may need to be working right now.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's and communicate back and forth with it. I think that's brilliant because, the scary thing that happens to people is, the hoses behind your washer get worn out and break.
Oh, yeah.
Something freezes. At my parents' house, the lever that goes up and down to open and close the drain, that wore through one of the pipes. And then in the middle of the night, it sprung a leak, and it was a second floor bedroom and kind of flooded down through the house. If my parents had this, it would have cut it off right there, and things would have got somewhat damaged, but most of it would have stopped. So I thought that was kind of cool. So Mowen's been advertising it, but until I read about it, I didn't really realize how cool this thing was.
There's a lot of things out there right now that you don't realize that it's there until you either see it in a news article or you see it at a store. And you're like, ooh, what's this? That kind of thing. I've noticed that a lot lately. Because they don't really advertise a lot of the, smart stuff.
Yeah, some of the smart stuff. So, that's the big thing with CES this year, and even last year, is more and more smart home things. And I've noticed just about everyone's getting into it, whether it's your alarm company now that's providing you doorbell stuff, smart fire extinguishers, or not fire detectors, smoke detectors, cameras, all that stuff. More and more places are doing integrated smart lights. Yeah. Which is, I do. I have smart lights at my house. I'm fond of them. Because I have a couple of rooms that don't have a ceiling fixture. I just have wall things. And I don't want to sound like I'm completely lazy, but it's really nice that at a certain time they automatically just turn on. I don't have to get up and walk around and go, okay, turn that switch. I mean, I can do it, but it's kind of cool to just be able to reach, just be able to either hit the button or just it's on a timer. For safety wise, it's also kind of nice because literally my house is all on different timers. Yeah. So, things light up as I get up in the morning. The stairs are lit. The other rooms come on. And at certain times at night, other things light up. It's really nice. Yeah. My only complaint right now is there's all these competing standards, and you have to have a bunch of apps. Yeah. For a while there was something called X10. Which is also, by the way, the name of a driveway sealant. So people do web searches for X10, they end up finding that. But look for X10 smart homes. And that was a standard for a while, and then all these other companies kind of got in at once and just went nuts. So I'm waiting for everything to kind of circle back around. Yeah. The great unifier right now is like Google Nest, because Google bought Nest out because Nest was a company, or Alexa, or some of the Apple stuff, because each thing has its own app and interface, but at least they talk to one single thing, whether it's the Alexa or the Nest or whatever. So I kind of like that interface. I don't have a Google Nest or anything like that at my house. Because I'm slowly moving things because I had bought some stuff prior to being able to integrate with that. Yeah. So at some point I'm going to do that. Let's see, what else we've got going. One of the other things that came out of CES last year that I think is pretty cool is something called Pocket Talk, and it's actually a universal translator just about. Oh, okay. So it's about the size of a phone, okay, and the newer version is smart enough to actually, when you speak to it, it'll know and sense, oh, well, he's speaking Spanish, or he's speaking some of the well-known, more prolific languages. It'll pick up and go, oh, well, and then start automatically translating that. Oh, wow. Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool, and I like the fact that I can speak into this device and then play it back for someone, because you can kind of do that with your phone with Google Translate, but this thing is more dedicated, so it's the grammar's better. The whole thing's a little bit better.
Makes sense.
So, I absolutely think that is the a fabulous thing. So I'm kind of excited about that, and I'm looking forward to that device. See, we don't have anybody else joining us. It looks like we're kind of out here
at the moment. Yeah.
So hey, so while we're waiting, Charlie, what do you got up in the queue right now for videos, as far as training videos?
For right now, I have. Well, we're about to send out the searching catalog part 2.
Yeah, your advanced searching catalog.
Yes,
Yeah,
advanced searching catalog.
that should be coming up. I think it's up on our YouTube channel, but it may be coming up everywhere else fairly soon.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do I got? I'm trying to remember.
You got the catalog 1.
Well, catalog 1, and then we got the hotspot video. All that stuff can be found on our YouTube channel.
Yep, you got hotspot. You did how to use Zoom.
Yep.
Say how to use our hotspots, how to use Zoom. Search in the catalog.
Yeah, how to get to our website and all that kind of stuff.
How to get to our website. Yep. And then I've got one in the pipeline that should be coming out on how to use Sora. So Sora is the ebook platform that is provided to our local schools, and it's a nice robust kind of profile, nice robust app that has plenty of ebooks, and you can also integrate it, which is kind of nice to our existing ebook platform. So students at Madison, any one of the Madison schools can log in with their ID, and then not only search Sora for ebooks and audiobooks, but also search CleveNet as well. Okay. So I've got that in the queue, and I've got some other stuff for school students as well in the queue that's going to be coming out. Another big one that we have coming up is I just recorded today. Jenny, who does our crafting videos, she did a hot chocolate bomb video, how to make a hot chocolate bomb.
Oh, nice.
The best thing about being the videographer for that one is guess who got to drink the hot chocolate? Yeah, this guy. So that was pretty awesome, actually, but it was a really cool video. She went through step-by-step on how to make the molds and how to put everything together, seal it up, decorate it. It was really cool. And then also launching probably this week, I think, maybe Thursday, is Margaret, who is one of our circulation clerks, and she goes through on how to crochet a granny square, which is kind of we'll call it the foundation piece.
Yeah.
So, you make one granny square, and then you can tie another granny square, and you kind of build off from there, which is kind of cool. So if you wanted to make a blanket, or other things. Oh, yeah. So she has that video, and the cool thing is someone donated a lot of yarn to the library, so we did this program in conjunction. You could come into the library and pick up skeins of yarn. See, I got the right term now. They're called a skein.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's your $10 word for the day, Charlie. Skein.
Well, I heard a lady come in today. She was looking for a pattern today, and she said skein, and I'm like, what is that? And now I know.
Now you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Skein of yarn. So we've got that coming, and then down the pike a little bit, I know Jenny has a couple more videos, some paper crafting videos that's going to be recorded, and then Margaret's going to work on we've got it mostly done, a video on Plarn. So Plarn is where you take a plastic bag, so your regular grocery shopping plastic bag, and you cut it a certain way, and then you can crochet with it. Huh. And in fact, she even has like a loom, and she weaves with it too.
Oh wow!
So she made some really cool things. She made these roses, like decorative roses and flowers, and then she made like a shopping bag. And it's kind of cool because it's a shopping bag made of shopping bags. It's all recycled. And she showed you, you can make, mats for the homeless because. It's nice to, unfortunately, if you're homeless, this is a nice thing to lay down to kind of keep you out of the dirt and stuff, and the bugs won't eat it because it's plastic. So, it's a nice thing to do to give back, to make one of these, or several of them for people who are unfortunately homeless. So she goes through that, so that's very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to finishing that up. We got some of those videos in the queue that we're processing. And so, we're clicking along, and let's see if we got anybody else joining us. If not, what else have we got in the queue? We've got plenty of story times coming up. Did you grab the calendar real quick to see if there was anything out there?
No, Colt back there just sent me a few more articles if we have some free time.
Hey, all right, Colt. Well, why don't you read that? So thanks for participating, Colt.
Yes.
Not only is Colt running our video, so he's our background guy, but he's also throwing us some some articles to talk about as we're waiting for anybody to join on and ask us any questions.
All right, so it's a. I just closed out of it. That tends to happen with me sometimes. So it's a high-tech indoor farmer app harvest starts shipping tomatoes.
Say that 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's called App Harvester. So they are. I'm guessing it's like a greenhouse type deal from what I can see from the image here. It's a greenhouse type deal. I don't know much about App Harvester. I never even heard of it before.
Yeah.
An indoor. So it says App Harvester, an indoor farming company backed by Martha Stewart. Interesting.
So basically, it sounds like maybe
It sounds like
like a subscription service.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like a you subscribe to it, or you can. It's like a marketplace where you can buy like
Produce.
Now,
Now I can't think of the device, but there's a pretty cool device out there. It's basically a computer controlled garden. Have you seen this thing? Cole, have you seen this thing at all? So you set up a raised garden bed, okay, and then you set up this machine that kind of looks like a CNC type machine or a computer controlled arm. And what the thing does, this is kind of cool, is it plants. So you feed it, you give it seeds, and it knows, oh, I'm going to plant lettuce, and I'm going to plant lettuce the right spacing apart. Okay. And then you give it tomatoes, and I'm going to plant tomatoes the right spacing apart. And then the cool thing is it knows all the different plants, and it knows what needs watered. And so really you run electricity and water to this thing. And it pretty much weeds, it waters, and it plants.
Nice.
Now, I mean, I'm one of those kind of people when it comes to a small garden.
Yeah.
I like to sit and weed because it's just one of those things I just kind of listen to my music and kind of do my thing and whatever. You know, but I do like the idea because I'm terrible at watering. That it would be kind of cool to, I have all these things set up and they're going back and forth. It's, it's kind of a cool technology. There's a lot of places up here in this area. I mean, we used to, I don't know if we still are, but I think, at one point this area was the greenhouse capital of the world. I'm not sure as much as it is now. But still, amazing things going on. I know that there's some of the greenhouses up here that are partnering with companies and experimenting with strobe lights to kind of alter the effect of the regular light cycle for plants, and they're doubling the yield and some of those, and doing amazing things and ending up with giant vegetables and just messing with the light cycle enough that the plants are growing differently and growing better. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, and there's a lot of hydroponic stuff up here as far as growing techniques.
Oh yeah.
This may not be the greenhouse capital, but it sure as heck is probably the most innovative area.
Yeah.
In this up and around here is people are doing amazing things.
Yeah.
And I don't think they get as much recognition. So
No.
I just want to shout out to all the greenhouses because you guys are doing amazing things around here, and I love reading about it. Amazing technology.
Well, speaking about like farming and stuff, like agriculture-wise, John Deere has a simulator pilot for its combines and tractors.
Oh, really?
It was unveiled at CES again, another CES item. But it was a prototype, so it wasn't like it's right there in front of you to try it or anything. But it is literally you have full view of the cab and everything else, and it's a setup. You don't have to be in the combine. You can have it sitting in like your barn or whatever.
Sitting at your desk at home.
Or even at your desk at home.
And directing everything.
Set up a wheel and all that kind of stuff. And you can do it right from your desk at home.
Well, that's cool. I have a couple of friends that they plant by GPS.
Yeah.
And so they know, everything is planted based on coordinates. And
Yeah.
I mean, they're still driving their tractors.
Oh, yeah.
And combines and whatnot. But, how close are we to, where I know John Deere had a remote control tractor for a while now. I mean, but how close are we to, the Roomba of farming?
Yeah.
Where you just set it and just do its thing.
We have Roombas that can mow the lawn for you.
I know. I wish they were cheaper.
Not too far.
I wish they were cheaper because I would so totally do that. Actually, one of the coolest things I get to see, because I drive in to get up here. I drive in a little ways to get up here. In the Ashtabula part of the 1190 interchange, okay, They have a remote controlled mower. And it's it's tractor based, it's tread based, okay? So it looks like a little tank. And it's brilliant because it mows up and down those steep slopes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. The part that never, it's very dangerous to ride a tractor.
And it's always the highest because they can't actually.
It's always the highest, and they do make see if I can get it in the right shot. They make the arm that can kind of come off the tractor and mow, but that thing's really heavy.
Up and off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to worry about tipping and all that.
The one
kind of
day,
stuff.
because I could kind of see this, because it's Interstate 11. There's not a lot
going on.
I can kind of see this guy doing his thing, and he's sitting there with what looks like a regular joystick, like I'd run a remote control car or plane, and going up and down and just mowing.
Wow.
And it was brilliant. I'm thinking, okay, it's one guy, it's one device. It probably doesn't use that much fuel.
Mm-hmm. If it uses fuel at all, it could be all
electric. Good point. And then could it go up and down and then save because the scariest thing would be rolling one of those tractors. That'd be utterly frightening.
Well, especially I would think even with the tracks, you could probably flip it over unless it's like there's a tower on the one side.
This thing is so low to the ground. I mean, I grew up. My mom's from Pennsylvania, so I grew up with. There were roads you couldn't drive near my grandma's house at noon because they were so vertical. They weren't straight up and down.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, it was. There were days like I'm not going up that road because I'll get blinded by the sun. So we've got a couple of people watching. So this is our AMA Ask Us Anything Technology, and go ahead and throw something in the chat, and we can talk about it. Otherwise, we're going to talk about news and kind of yammer on for a little bit, and we're going to go a little bit longer, and kind of go from there. So appreciate you joining in. And this is in partnership with the Madison Food Center. I miss going out there. You haven't had a chance to go out there yet. At least once a month I'd go out there to do a program or talk to folks, or sometimes we'd have just open tech hours. I can't wait till we make some progress on this virus and kind of be able to get in and be able to do that in more places. We are bringing the bookmobile out to places like that. So,
how safe is Alexa?
All right. So, great question coming in. So, how safe is Alexa? Here's the thing with Alexa. Any device like Alexa involves care and feeding. I said this in our last AMA. I'll say this in every AMA. Any technology is like getting a kitten. I hand you a kitten. You've got a kitten, but you still got to feed it. You got to make sure it gets its shots. You got to make sure that it has litter. And Alexa's like that too. So you have to make sure you stay up on making sure it's updated. If you're buying devices, now Alexa itself is very safe overall. But if you're buying devices that connect into Alexa, make sure that they're a reputable brand.
Yeah.
If it's some company you've never heard of versus some brand that you maybe grew up hearing, go with the brand you grew up hearing. Overall, Alexa's pretty solid. And I know some people said, "Hey, it's recording me and all that stuff." You're making kind of a trade-off there. Do you want it always on? If you want it always on, then you need to have it always listening.
Yeah.
But overall, it's pretty safe. I know there was a thing in the recently that someone harvested some data from Alexa, and the problem was that when they say that, it sounds like it was Alexa's fault. It was the cell phone's fault. Mm-hmm. And that was the problem. The person had a compromised cell phone, okay. And that's where they pulled the data from. But you have to, when you read the articles, it's like, oh, look at this got hacked. Read the rest of the article. 9 times out of 10, it's something connecting to Alexa, or any of the other Android based communication things. There's integrating things.
Can Amazon listen in on your conversations?
Can Amazon listen in on your conversations? The interesting thing is that all of our devices are processing what they hear. Mm-hmm. Can someone listen in? In theory, if someone broke all the protocols, okay, because there are some safety protocols involved. If someone broke all the protocols, yes, they could listen. In theory, 9 times out of 10, nobody wants to hear what you're talking about. So that's kind of some of the things that are always. I think of Big Brother 1984. there's, I will say, government is different than the average person listening in. Most of the time, when you get a compromise, it's your own home security.
Yeah.
You haven't turned on the encryption on your access points in your house. You haven't set up any kind of filtering to say only devices that I own talk to my equipment.
Yeah.
And that's a thing called MAC filtering, and not MAC like Apple computers. It's another acronym. But basically, a MAC address, think about it like a social security number for your device. So your phone has one, your computer has one, your tablet has one. You want to make sure that those MAC addresses are set to only talk to your router at home, because then if like Colt comes over, he can't connect to your router. Now you can go in and let him in if you wanted to, but in essence nobody else can get in. So most people don't turn on MAC filtering, and they should, because it's the easiest way, because regardless of how they can be in your house, if the MAC filtering's on, they can't talk to it.
Unless you have night vision in your home.
Unless you have night vision in your home. That one I don't know.
Baby monitors.
Well, baby monitors, that's the thing with baby monitors. Any of the internet connected baby monitors, again, all of these places that had weird things happen with baby monitors is because they were not encrypting the traffic. They were just connecting out to a website and playing what we call plain text, but in this case plain video. And like nobody connected, nobody's made any safety on it,
Yeah.
like I have a couple baby monitors in my house. I used to have one for the pets and stuff. They're localized, and if I want to pick them up, I connect into my house and then pick them up. I don't bring them to me, you know. And the funny thing, I mean, a lot of the security is, it's something you set up once, and most of the time you forget about. Turning on the encryption. You set that up. That's that key you have to put in to connect to your router. That's the encryption. The MAC filtering, again, you set up once. Now, if you have a lot of people in and out of your house, it's a little harder to do. But a finite number of things. Every Christmas or whatever holiday you get a lot of gifts, that's when you add more stuff to the MAC filter and take other things out.
Yeah, so like the old stuff you take out, the new stuff you put in.
Exactly.
Depending on how often you use it and all that stuff.
Exactly. So, I mean, overall, I would say Alexa and all the digital assistants are pretty solid, as long as you have put the time in, the care and feeding to make sure that they're good, and also buy from a reputable. It's funny, I'm amazed at how many things can connect, and then you're like, I've never heard of this company, and they're a fly-by-night thing, and they haven't bothered to put any security on, they haven't bothered to put anything into the whole setup, You don't buy technology for technology's sake. You buy technology because it does something you need.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing people forget. I mean, I love gadgets, don't get me wrong. But if I'm going to buy something, it darn well better do something that I need and replace. Like, in my case, a Roomba lawnmower would be awesome. I have 3.5 acres. And some days it feels like just by the time, and I mean, that's not even a big yard. Some people have multiple acres.
Yeah.
But sometimes it seems like I just get part of the yard cut, and it's time to cut the rest of the yard. It'd be nice if the thing was zooming around, just cutting all day for me. My aunt has a Roomba, one of the newer Roombas, and it's funny. It goes around the house, and she had a dog, and I think the dog was just bemused by this thing going around the house. It didn't even mess with it. Just like, I don't know what it is, but it's funny to watch. So, again, this is our ask me anything, or I guess it's ask us anything, but technology. So. Feel free to throw something in the chat, and we'll love to talk about your questions. Otherwise, Charlie and I are going to yammer for a little while on here. Again, this is in partnership with the Madison Food Center, and they're a really good partner. We love working with them.
Do the Roombas work well?
Do the Roombas work well? They do, as long as you plan accordingly.
Yeah.
You have to think out and make sure that the Roomba is going to sweep through the house in a very concentric kind of way, and you don't have too many things laying on the ground. Like if I had, I have a 5 or 6-year-old now. If I have a 6-year-old,
Yeah.
a Roomba is not going to be my friend. There's too many things. No matter how many times you pick stuff up, there's too many things on the ground.
Yeah.
A Roomba is good for your maintenance cleaning. You're still going to have to go through and clean the house and sweep and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But the Roomba is nice to get the main traffic areas. And the new Roomba is kind of cool because you can say, hey, I just made a mess here, clean it up.
Yeah.
Have you seen that at all? Where you tell it in the phone?
I've seen ones that have mops on it. Like
Yeah.
Roomba made one with a mop.
They call it a scuba.
A scuba.
A scuba. Yeah, so it does mop. But yeah, the newer ones you can kind of say, hey, these are high traffic areas, clean them more. These are low traffic areas, because the original Roomba probably would spend way too much time in places like underneath chairs and stuff that, yes, it's nice to get clean. Yes,
Well,
we should be cleaning.
The original Roomba was set to a specific path. You
Yeah.
couldn't actually say, hey, this is a higher volume area, so come here more often. Or this is a lower maintained area, or we don't go into it in and out of it like that often.
Yeah, I actually know a couple of public libraries that have Roombas that after everybody's left,
Yeah.
the Roombas get launched, and they kind of, they
Roomba
clean up,
army.
The Roomba army. They clean up certain areas that tend to have a lot of salt tracked in.
Okay.
Tend to have a lot of dirt and stuff like that tracked in all the time. So it's kind of cool to watch. I worked in a library that was multiple floors.
Yeah.
And we talked about getting a Roomba.
Yeah.
But we were terrified that we wouldn't have enough of the little barriers because we had a lot of stairs, and there would be a Roomba go sailing down the stairs.
I know Roombas do have sensors now that do detect stairs.
Yeah.
So that it's not like the bump sensor, like
The original bump sensor.
Yeah, the original bump sensor, where it wouldn't stop until it fell. I know a lot of them have started sensing, like they have like lasers. And
Probably the
it's
best
that
thing
kind
that
of
Roomba did is they opened up to the robotics community,
Yeah.
like the BattleBots people.
Yeah.
So all of our high school kids that did BattleBots, Roomba opened up to communities like that and said, here's a Roomba, here's how you connect and program to it.
Yeah.
Make it do things and
Yeah.
teach us what it can do.
Well, that was something that at Auburn people were doing. They
Oh, yeah?
actually had a Roomba that they were setting up to. I don't remember exactly what it was, but they had they were like going through the forums and figuring out, how do I get into this Roomba? I mean, it wasn't exactly an actual Roomba; it was an older,
Yeah.
it was a off-brand one. But they were going through it and programming it itself to do whatever they wanted it to do.
Yeah, the legit iRobot people, they're really cool because they opened it up, they said here, and they made it so that you could pop a lid, and it had, like, you didn't have to make your own connector, it had a connector in there, and just
Oh, wow.
plug it in. And then they release, they wouldn't release all of the source code, but, like, some of it. Okay, what else we got?
Where is the best place to purchase parts for a gaming PC?
Well, that is all upon what you want.
Good answer.
Because you could go ahead and go out and buy parts from Amazon. You can go ahead and go buy parts from Newegg or Micro Center, but it all depends on where you can find the best deal for you. It's not necessarily there's one good place. There's there's multiple places that you can get parts from. It's just how much are you willing to spend, and where if you can find a good deal on those.
Yeah, because, I mean, most of these places aren't exclusive to the parts.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about gaming PC is the parts are kind of universal. So, if I find I really want a specific type of graphics card because maybe I play a certain type of game that
Yeah.
needs that, I can shop around and say, who has the best deal on Amazon or Newegg or Micro Center or Best Buy or any of
Yeah.
those places, and then find that part. The important thing is to go from a reputable place.
Yeah.
Because there are counterfeit parts, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it is about finding the parts and knowing what you need. I mean, like if I was designing a gaming PC, I'm going to focus on my processor.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on my RAM, and I'm going to focus on my graphics card.
Yeah.
Hard drive may or may not be one of those big focus points for me because I don't need a lot
Not
of storage.
necessarily. It depends. Well, obviously, when you're building your computer, it depends on what you want to do with it, how much you're going to do with it, and especially how much you're gonna do on it.
Yeah.
It's more or less what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how much you're doing it. Because if you're going out and buying just like an off the shelf,
Like an Alienware.
yeah,
or something
exactly.
like
If you're
that,
buying an off the shelf Alienware, or if you're buying an off the shelf, even just a standard HP or Dell or something, most of those are pre-built to do what it's meant to do. Sometimes, not all the time. That there's like a little gray area in between that.
But yeah, you've definitely got productivity computers, you've got
Yes.
gaming computers. But I mean, you kind of find your way through. And like I said, I may focus on memory, I may focus on processor, I may focus on graphics. But, I may not need a lot of space for my hard drive, so I may get a fast hard drive, but not a big one.
Yeah.
Or, in some cases, power.
But for how big games have gotten recently, especially like the recent release of like Cyberpunk 2077 and all that kind of
Yes,
stuff.
oh my, that was a big game.
Storage is crucial, especially like Call of Duty and stuff now.
I would agree some of those are getting...
120 gig just for the base game.
Wow.
And then you're adding on another almost 100 in storage.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
You need at least a 500 gig hard drive to even store that game.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
That's why you're seeing a lot more companies come out with hard drives that are
The SSD,
cheap, like
the cheap
SSDs that are 1 terabyte. They're coming out with 2 terabytes. There's actually what is it? SaberNet, I think it is. They came out with an 8 terabyte PCIe
Yeah, that thing's gonna
SSD,
Yeah,
which is
solid
crazy
state drive.
expensive.
That thing's gonna be crazy expensive, but crazy fast.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how big because that's not the kind of games I tend to play.
Yeah.
I tend to play role playing games and simulation games.
Oh, yeah.
Now some of the simulations like. Some of the flight simulators are pretty big, but nothing like what you just described with Call of Duty
Microsoft
or whatever.
Flight Simulator is, I think, 100 gig game. If I'm not mistaken, the newest one.
Yeah,
The
I
newest one
haven't
is.
played. I'm a couple iterations back because, I have a 6-year-old and my gaming time has gone. But
It's dropped, yeah.
yeah, much more quality time with him. Less time flying a plane myself, which trust me is a good trade-off. Don't get me wrong. Hard drive is. I guess hard drive is definitely if you're playing that kind of game, you're putting it back in there. But the gaming PCs are kind of like money holes too, if you think about it. I mean, you can be chasing video cards. I have a friend that probably buys a video card every couple of months because he just wants that next.
Now, see, I can't do that.
No,
Yeah.
I don't have that out. He has a very good job.
Oh, yeah.
And he has the money to do it, so more power to him. I used to build PCs for him, so it was great because I get to play with the cool stuff.
You get to look at it.
And then I'd be like, hand it off to him, like, okay, dude, here you go. I've got another question coming in.
What options do people have to listen to audiobooks in their vehicles, since most do not have CD players in?
Oh, that's an awesome question.
All right. Well, that if you have a library card, I know there's a few ways you can do that. We have Hoopla, which can do audiobooks, if I'm not mistaken. We also have Libby Libby Overdrive because they're
The same company.
Same thing, more or less. It's just different, visual representation.
Now, the thing is, you have those services that provide you the digital audiobooks.
Yes.
And you can also get some things from us as well. The key to it all is being able to play things either from your phone, so via Bluetooth to the speakers. So that's the nice thing about Hoopla and Libby is those two apps on your phone. You can then play over top of your Bluetooth connection with your phone. So you got to have a phone that'll talk to your car.
Or if you have, I don't know if many cars have auxes anymore either, like aux cable.
They still,
I know some do, some
Yeah,
don't.
so the auxiliary cables. Some cars have them. They're in the glove box or the console now.
Okay.
So they're not. They used to be in front. Like most of the cars I see now have them in the console.
Yeah.
And so there is an aux cable, and so aux is auxiliary, and so it's like a double-ended headphone cable, and it's not a headphone cable; it's a special type of cable. So you plug that into your. In this case, if you had an MP3 player, you plug that in, which you can put the Libby and the other things on. Moreover, your phone you plug into there. or if you got like a playaway or one of those
Oh, yeah.
single
You can just
shot
do it from-
MP3s, yeah, you can plug that in. The other option actually is a lot of cars still have USB.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you can put
Oh,
the
yeah, I know what you're
files.
talking about, yes.
So, and this is something that, I'll be honest with you, this is a good learning coach kind of thing. Come in and schedule time with Charlie or schedule time with me or Joe. We can show you how to take the files from Overdrive, because specifically Overdrive this works for best with, put them on a flash drive, and then so that flash drive will play in your car.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so, in fact, I have an entire series of books
Yeah.
on a flash drive in my car.
Nice.
So when I want to, because after a little while I get tired of what I'm listening to music-wise.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens mid-drive, so I'll switch over to that and start listening to a book.
Okay.
But you can put them on a flash drive. Moreover, just about anybody is now heading more towards that whole Bluetooth kind of
Yeah.
thing going.
Bluetooth connected.
So
and
that
stuff.
requires you to have a phone that does Bluetooth. And that
Yeah.
requires you to have the Libby or the Hoopla app on there. We also have music through an entity called Friggle, which
Oh, yeah,
is
Friggle.
5 songs a week for free. You get to keep them and put them on your device, which is really cool. So you could build up your music library as well. So not just audiobooks and not just audiobooks, but also music. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
gonna say ebooks, but you shouldn't be reading and driving like that because that would be bad.
Yes.
Those really nice gentlemen and ladies with the really cool lights on their car frown upon you driving and reading. And I really like them and don't want to make them mad because they're awful nice people.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
So let's see. So what else we've got out there? No other questions yet. How are we doing on time? What time we got there, Colt? I can't see the clock real well. 4:16? All right, we'll go for a little bit longer, and then we'll probably wrap up. Any other tech articles that jumped out at you, Colt? Anything you sent Charlie?
Let's see what.
Tim, what about self-driving cars?
Self-driving cars.
Oh, yes. Hold on. I need to get out of here first.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about what I know about self-driving cars, and you can read the article a little bit and see where you're at. So I am fascinated by self-driving cars and the driving force. There's some puns right there. The driving force behind a lot of the self-driving cars is actually ARPANET. And ARPANET is the entity, part of the U.S. government, in fact, the military, that designed the internet. And so their interest in self-driving vehicles and self-driving anything is being able to put military units in and out of different places and keeping the people in the least amount of harm's way. So if they can automate a vehicle to drive in and drive through an area where they may have IEDs or any other things that are incredibly dangerous, or they're using them for firefighting. And so they can bring these autonomous vehicles in to where it's really too hot for a person to be, maybe it's a chemical fire or, some kind of like petrochemical fire, where it's gets too hot for even a firefighter in the best gear. They can drive these automated vehicles in and then run the spray, run the foam, run whatever. So what'd you get from the article?
So it is a partnership between GM and Microsoft. Microsoft was also partnered with Honda as well with this. They are basically giving it's kind of like Google's idea of self-driving car. How they, just kind of mounted it to a Prius, but it's actually more into the central board of the computer.
Okay, yeah.
But basically what they're trying to do is that Microsoft's giving GM the software to use. But all they're doing really is just making it so they can produce more self-driving vehicles, because they're still working on concepts for. I know. Actually, no. I just remembered seeing that Cadillac. Well, that's Chrysler. Sorry. I know Cadillac just came out with one of their.
No, Cadillac's GM.
Is it?
Yeah, Cadillac's GM.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, so Cadillac has a version of its self-driving car.
The party
the
thing?
Halo.
Do you see the
Yeah,
party
it's
thing?
something like it's called the Halo,
Yeah.
and
It was nicknamed, the one thing I was reading, it was nicknamed like a party bus,
Yeah.
where it was a self-driving vehicle that you could go to like a concert or whatever,
Yeah.
and it would be your designated driver or your Uber.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I saw that. A friend of mine recently purchased a vehicle, and it has some self-driving features built into it.
Yeah.
So if she gets too close to something,
Yeah.
it puts on the brakes.
Yeah.
So if it thinks she's going to ram into a car, boom, brakes are on. The problem is it's not quite calibrated real well.
Okay.
So like sometimes semis set it off and the car stops or starts to stop immediately. You know, it senses if your hands are on the wheel. You know, and then tries to wake you up. If it senses if you weave too much in the road,
Yeah,
you know,
it kind of tries to center.
tries to center you.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it is the most frightening thing to be driving, and the car goes, "No, you want to go this way." It is a little disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the whatchamacallit, the Tesla has now it turned some of the self-driving stuff off because people were being silly with it, but that's kind of a cool feature where I'll be honest with you, I drive an hour up here and an hour back on Interstate 11. I'm really basically, I've got the cruise control on, you know, I'm making sure that I keep the wheel straight. If I could have a car that basically kept the wheel straight, I'd be fine, you know. I'm not like I'm going to sit there and like eat breakfast or read the paper or something silly like that. But it would be nice to not have to, you know, constantly be like this, you know. I mean, bad driving is a different story, but yeah, it'd be nice to be able to like let my hands go for a second, you know, whatever.
Yeah, take a break from fighting the wheel.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, because there is a little bit of, you know, you're constantly kind of tweaking the wheel back and forth depending on how the road is, you know, and it would be kind of relaxing. Because, I mean, I got cruise control. My foot's not doing anything, you know. Not like my foot's somewhere else either. I keep it near the brake because it is Interstate 11, and nature likes to run across Interstate 11. That's how I test my brakes.
Yes.
So let's see, where are we at on time? It is 4:21, right? Give or take. You want to go just a little bit longer and see if there's any other questions? Otherwise, I think we'll probably sign off. So this was fun. You know, I think we got a kind of a rhythm going. So again, this is our Ask Us Anything, and you know, we talked about a lot of different programs coming up. We've talked about a lot of different services. So, I mean, we have plenty of services here, you know, whether it's digital services, whether it's ebooks, e-music, e-audio, videos. Hoopla is kind of like Netflix, but for free with your library card. And it has read-to-you books. It has TV shows, all of that stuff, full-length movies. It's great. We've added extra loans to it, which is really cool. So we've got that. We've got Frigo, which is free music. We've got so many offerings, and it's hard to just tell everybody so many cool things we do. We always have our drive-up window. Yep.
How safe are other browsers besides Google and Bing?
Well, Bing is a search engine, so it would be Edge.
Yeah.
Firefox is still out there. I have some issues with Firefox now and then because it tends to break on me a lot.
Yeah.
And there's still some other ones floating out there. Safari is there. Safari's still kind of the dominant browser if you're an Apple person. But I still kind of go down the road of I stick with Chrome for the most part.
Yeah, I stick with Chrome usually.
Chrome isn't perfect. But DuckDuckGo is a search engine. Yeah, DuckDuckGo is a search engine. So Colt had said, what about DuckDuckGo? DuckDuckGo is kind of an anonymizing search engine. And it's actually pretty nice. I've used that before.
For the privacy-minded individual.
Well, not necessarily privacy-minded, because you tend to find yourself, you create your own bubble with your searches and all that stuff. So when you're looking for something, sometimes it's harder to find the information that you're looking for because you've kind of boxed yourself in. Like when I tell people that are doing research for like school and whatnot, log out of Chrome. Log out of, get your Google account out of there.
Yeah.
Just temporarily so that it doesn't know who you are.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily start looking for things that you may be more
it's trying to help you, and this is all, whether it's Amazon or Google or Bing, they're trying to help you get more information. The problem is that help sometimes is just hitting you with the same information over and over again.
It's very overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, and so you want to clear your cache on your browser, log out of it if you can. Sometimes go into incognito mode, which is a safety mode, but in this case, you want it so that you can go out and do your searches.
Yeah.
And when you do those searches, you get the most varied results.
Yeah.
The other thing is, to be honest with you, come into your local public library, whether it's us or anybody else, if you sit down at one of our PCs, they get wiped between people.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the best ways to sit and get the clearest kind of search because there's no personality. I always say it's a personality kind of added in.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell when you sit down at someone's computer, you kind of get their personality vibe off of it or their phone.
Yeah.
You know, what do you like? What do you like to watch? What do you like to read? You know, those things kind of weave their way in whether you like it or not. So as far as safety goes, okay, Cole, can you read that? I can almost read it. Is it cache?
Should you clear your cache and history often?
I personally do, and for two reasons. One, to keep that build-up from kind of self-fulfilling. The other thing is that takes memory. And if you let the cache roll and roll and roll, the browser gets slower and slower and slower because in theory it's supposed to go to the cache to make things go faster. If the cache is so big that it takes forever for it to search and see if there's anything it wants from there.
That's why browsers are really RAM heavy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's why, That's why you'll see a lot of people say, "Wow, Chrome's really tanking my performance sometimes."
Yeah,
because
Chrome
it will eat your memory like crazy.
Chrome, Edge, Firefox, they all love to spawn multiple instances and use a lot of memory, tons of RAM.
Well, I know like a lot of the memes out there are about Chrome because they really like to beat on Chrome.
Oh yeah,
because that was the first one that they found and they have not let it go.
Yeah, no. But yeah, I personally like to clear it for performance issues as well as I want to get rid of that, preemptive strikes.
Yeah.
Where, and you have to, when you do that, realize that if you have connected your accounts, say you've synced your accounts from your phone and your PC and your laptop and all of that's building up, and all of that kind of creates a framework of things. And so you want to make sure you clear your phone. You want to make sure you clear your tablet. You want to make sure you clear, go through and do everything periodically.
Any device that you've been on, you may want to just go ahead and...
and I'll be honest with you, I personally try to do it. Now, I'm a little more of a heavy searcher, so I do it a little more often. But, I tend to help, and I'm working on my mom's computer or whatever, I'll clear her stuff, once a month.
Yeah.
Just to get it all out of there,
I mean, I feel like it's kind of...
I flush your phone once a month.
Yeah, that's the same thing with, even with, all the apps that you use for your phone.
Uh-huh.
Every so once in a while, you want to clear that out, so that you can open up some performance space. The
other thing I do is my phone is automatically set to restart itself, power it off, and come back on every Sunday.
Okay.
Because there's always that stuff, especially with phones, it sits in RAM that just doesn't go away because it always has power. Mm-hmm. And so I dump my phone, so I have it scheduled, it shuts itself off, and then waits a couple seconds and it turns itself back on. Mm-hmm. And that's every Sunday for me. So it sits on the charger, it does it in the middle of the night when I'm not using it. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, my performance for my phone jumped up significantly by setting that to happen.
Well, I have never set anything. I know my instructor at Auburn last year told all of us that if you use a phone to get performance out of your phone, to keep it working longer, the best thing to do is once or twice a week, turn the whole thing off.
Yep.
And then once, I know tonight I'll turn mine off since I'm not going to be in tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I'll turn mine off since I don't have to get up with an alarm or anything. So I'll turn that off. And it's the same thing when on the weekends. I'll turn it off I'll turn it off just so that it can clear itself out.
Yep. And I was trying to get to him, my phone's, of course, misbehaving when I want to get to something. There's some irony there. It's because I have a video streaming at the same time.
So it's taking a lot of...
Oh, yeah. It's taking all the it's eating all the memory.
It's eating
it all the memory. I was going to get into the thing and show it on the screen real quick, where you could kind of clear out your phone. But literally, this is where I'm going to reboot my phone.
Yeah, it's always a fun thing when you have to reboot your phone when you're trying to do something.
So, but there is almost all devices now have a thing where it'll go in and clear out the majority of your files. It will put apps to sleep that are running, things along those lines. Kind of keep everything kind of tidy and clean.
Yeah.
Watch for any program that's an add-on. Use what's built in. There's plenty of companies out there who produce these add-on things for cleaning your phone. I don't trust a single one of them, and that's a personal thing because way too many have showed up in the bad list at some point in time. And so I'm not a big fan of loading those on a phone because heaven knows
What it's actually doing.
What it's actually doing. It could be making a copy of everything as it's cleaning.
Yeah.
Who knows? Use what's built into the phone, and it's in your settings, and it's usually under. I wonder if my phone's come up by yet.
I know Samsung has one.
Samsung has one. A couple of the other ones have one.
I know my phone. I don't think has
Your
one.
phone doesn't have one?
No.
Okay.
Well, mine's a Pixel, so I don't know what exactly it has.
Okay.
I know I've played around with it a
Hey,
little
Colt,
bit.
can you jump to the document cam real quick? Thank you. So I'll bring this up. So this is, Samsung calls theirs device care, but a couple other places have things that are similar. And it will show you, how much you're using in storage, what your battery, I hit storage again, what your battery looks like, and how your battery is going, how your memory is going. And it'll go and say, hey, this is what you've got going, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean what I've got running right now. So it goes in and kind of cleans out, and this is the built-in one, and this is to go with. And I know some of the other ones. I know the HTC has something. Pixel may have theirs built in
It
or
may be
automated.
there somewhere, but I don't see it.
All right, go ahead and click back, Colt. Thank you. Sorry, I should have said something. So, what time is it here? 4:30. I think this is a good time for us to wrap up. So, hey, thanks, Charlie, for
no problem.
hanging out. This is fun. And thanks, Colt, for being the man behind the scenes and throwing us articles. We appreciate that.
Yep.
And thank you, everyone who watched. And big shout out to our friends at the Madison Food Center, so partnering with us for this. We appreciate them, and they do amazing things in the community. And so big shout out to them. And I will say, the document cam we just used, big shout out to Madison Village. They provided us with some COVID money, and we were able to get this document cam, and it makes our story times amazing because our story time folks like Miss Carly can put her book right there, and it puts it right up there so you can see it. And it also allows me to do some fun things as well. So thanks to the Madison Village as well. So have a good evening or day, whatever time you're watching us, and look forward to seeing you on the interwebs. Come in and visit us. Thank you, Colt.